Hi, welcome to another exciting episode of the Andre the Beast Queen Show. Another exciting show, another exciting guest. Like I said so many times, you never know who's going to walk through that door. And I know you recognize the face. I know you recognize the smile. I know you recognize the talent. Let's welcome back to Indianapolis on a mission today, the one, the only, Mr. Crime himself, Mr. Steve Scoop Jefferson. What's up, big dog?
What's up, man? Thank you for having me here. Thank you for having me here.
Man, look.
This is a reunion.
Yeah, this is a reunion. You know, you left, you keep coming back. Before we go any deeper, to the viewers that don't know you, because you've been gone for, it's 3.5 years now?
4.5.
4.5 years. Who was Steve Jefferson?
Who is Steve Jefferson? Wow. Steve Jefferson is a journalist.
Yeah.
Who just loves his job, loves God, and just love life.
Yeah. And you're still repping WTHR.
Yeah.
13.
Yeah.
Is that in your contract?
It's not my contract, but it's in my blood.
Well, you say it's in your blood. Is that where you started out at? What?
No,
13?
I started out in Dayton, Ohio, my hometown,
Okay.
where I was born and raised, and literally moved all around the country, but spent most of my career here in Indianapolis.
What got you to Indianapolis? We know Dayton's not that far. What is it, about an hour and a half?
Yeah.
Drive. Did you spend a lot of time as a youngster in Indianapolis? Because you could have went. Let's say you into journalism. You could have done a lot of things in the Cincinnati, Cleveland, a whole lot of areas. What is WKRP Cincinnati radio? You could have done a lot in Ohio. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, actually, when I was growing up in Dayton, Ohio, I had family here in Indianapolis, so we were here all the time.
Okay.
I had an aunt who had a restaurant here. She had a store here, so we were traveling here. We held family reunions here.
Right.
So it's just befitting that I ended up, serving the community of Indianapolis for so many years. But my career took me all around the country. So before Indianapolis, I was actually in Portland, Oregon on the West Coast, which was
How
way
the hell do you
too
go
far.
to Portland, Oregon? Look, I study history, and look, I tell people certain we got 50 some states. Oregon is not one that you say come and visit Oregon.
It was actually a great place to experience, a great place to live.
Really?
It was a great job. It was just so far away from everything that I was so used to here in the Midwest.
What was the culture like? Because I still don't know. And look, we got the internet. And I still don't know nothing about Oregon outside of the football team elevated. You know what I mean?
Right. Oregon is a melting pot, boots on the ground type of city. Portland, as far as Portland, but it rained a lot.
Really?
Yeah. While I was there, the 2 years that I spent there, we had like a 30-day stretch with no sunshine. And it was rough. Wow. It was rough. But I didn't like living out there because it was so far away from family, the 3-hour time difference. Right. I had to calculate when I could call people, not wake them up. Yeah, it was too much work. And then traveling back here was an all-day thing. So I told my agent, man, I got to get back to the Midwest.
Did you always want to do journalism? Because the reason I say that, it's funny, we just had somebody on the show yesterday. I was telling you about the doctor who talked about career paths. And he brought up interesting stories about career paths that a lot of people don't take in consideration. When you start going to school, those are your fundamental years. It's almost like giving a child. You got your fundamental years, and it really doesn't click until you get to high school. And a lot of times, depending on the era that you grew up in,
and depending on the color of your skin, really, if for us, it wasn't a lot of opportunities. It's
Right.
not like the counselors pulled you in the office and said, you know what, Steve, you have a great potential to be a journalism, or a journalist. The options were military or hopefully getting on at the local plant.
Yeah, exactly.
That was
Yep.
it. Or you
General
was
Motors.
you was a great athlete.
Yeah.
How did you manage to get to where you was, and who was instrumental in getting you to where you at? Because let's get real. I never even heard about journalism when I was even in school. It was called newspapers.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I started out in commercial art because I wanted to be an architect. I love to draw. I'm
Really?
very artistic, and so my first 2 years of college, I was trying to earn a commercial art degree.
Okay.
I got a job as an artist at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base.
I know exactly what it is.
Yeah, I was in their architectural department, drawing, scaling, but I wasn't happy. And then I ended up doing some top of the hour IDs for a radio station, and the bug bit me.
Really?
And I knew that journalism was what I was born to do.
Now, is there a difference between? We're going to go back and visit that word. I wasn't happy because I think this is 2026, and I'm gonna really stress that particular phrase with each episode. I wasn't happy. Then you got the bug, and I think a lot of people settle. And I want to get the young generation, and even the not so young generation, that still have dreams. To say, you know what, that makes a lot of sense. I'm gonna do something that makes me happy. So let's go back for a minute. Clarify the difference between the journalism and broadcasting.
Yeah, so when I started, I it was something that I knew that I wanted to do. It was something that I had a gift to do, but I had to hone that gift. I had to work on it, and so college teaches you the basics.
Mhm.
So I was learning the basics, but
What would be considered the basics?
writing,
Just writing?
producing, editing, just the basics itself.
Mhm.
Because when I decided I really wanted to get in it, I called every television station in Dayton, Ohio, and said, "Hey, I need a job. I want to do this." And they were like, "Go get a degree." And eventually, the last call I made, I called a reporter. He let me come in and shadow him. I filled out an application,
Right.
got called in for an interview. The interviewee said, "Well, where did you get your journalism degree?" I said, "I don't have one." And they said, "Well, you need to have a journalism degree to be a journalist." So I enrolled in Wright State University.
Right.
They put me on a 5-year program. I was like, you know what, 5 years is too long. I finished the program in 3 years.
Wow.
They hired me at the end, even before I graduated. And that's how much drive I had. They hired me before I graduated. I was on the air before I graduated in Dayton, Ohio, anchoring the hourly updates, putting together stories. So I had a very blessed career, and it just blew up from there. The difference between broadcasting and journalism, because you have a lot of people in broadcasting that don't have journalism degrees, but they have the gift. They have
Right.
the it.
Right.
And I know somebody that has the it, like
Okay.
you.
I don't have the degree.
You don't have the degree. But when I met you, you were not doing this.
No.
And look at you now.
Yeah.
So,
That's crazy too, because I hear people
Right.
say that and be like,
Right.
wow, I never thought about it. But you know what? Let's go back to something else you just said. I've been happy with each phase of my life, from professional athlete, Olympic candidate, playing semi-pro football, being a school teacher. And I sit back and I analyze. I wasn't forced into these things. These were things that I wanted to do. I saw myself
You saw yourself doing
doing them.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw myself.
Have you told them how we met? Do you remember how we met?
The Bob to the top.
Yeah, Bob to the top.
Bob to the top.
So I want y'all to know that, I agreed to do Bob to the top. That's climbing the 36 floors of the America One building.
Yeah.
And I was already active in the gym and going to the gym and stuff.
Yeah.
But I knew that there was no way I was going to make this climb without some type of training. And so I was like, I need somebody to train me to get up these stairs, because my goal was to just do 18 floors. That was my
That
goal.
was it.
That was it.
Yeah,
If I can get
Moses,
halfway,
yeah.
I know if I can get halfway, then I'll come back next year and do the do the rest. So this man trained me and to climb. He had me jumping and doing step bumps and everything.
Yeah.
And I made it. I did it. I
Yeah.
finished. And I didn't. When I got to the 36th floor, I was like, I was just so happy. So that's
Yeah.
how he and I met. Just
Yeah.
want y'all to
Yeah.
know this. That's how he and I met. And he was not doing what he's doing now. So I'm so
Yeah.
proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm so proud of you because this is not my first time on your show, but the first time I was on your show, you had just gotten started.
Yeah, that was a
And-
trip, man. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's different when you are an athlete or you somebody that gets interviewed. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you was doing me. That's different because you know the thing. You say something, you're done. It's done. But now you got to sit there and you have to really work when you're interviewing people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You need to understand how to format questions. And somebody asked me the other day, they was like, you know, the people that's been with me from day one, like yourself, that saw this journey unfold, and they say the same thing you said, like, would you believe where you at now, and how difficult was it? It was very difficult, cause I see where you're talking about with journalism, researching people, finding out the little tidbits that they don't want to tell you.
Right.
Yeah, you can,
Right.
and they look at you like, how'd you know that?
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Welcome
exactly.
to AI.
Yeah. Exactly.
Let's go back for a minute. What you was talking about, and I'm gonna use this word. You found your purpose. So let's go back a minute, and you shed a light on something. A 5-year program, you completed in 3. Wow, what was the sense of urgency?
Because I knew that this is what I wanted to do. I didn't want to wait that long. So I found out from the curriculum at the college which classes were actually required.
That's
for
a
the
major
degree.
difference.
Yeah, and which classes that really weren't required for the degree, the prerequisites.
Yeah.
And so I decided that if I had to have so many credit hours, so many classes, I took night classes, I took weekend classes, just as many as I could carry.
Almost
As many
like
as
a
the
fast
university-
track.
Yeah, fast track.
Yeah.
And my professors, they thought I was making a mistake because they thought it would impact my learning. But because it was my passion and something I really wanted to do, it was easy because I knew this is what I wanted to do.
When you let me go back again because I'm remembering the things that you said. A 3-year situation. I was sharing with you yesterday the guest that we had on the show, the guy that wrote the program.
Yeah.
You said something that he said. Remember, it was 3 types of categories: leaders, followers. I call it the motivational tiers. This determine what fit you're going to be for a job. What job is best fit for you? Some people aren't leaders. You can't put them in that situation to be leaders. You got picked before the degree was completed. The trajectory that these individuals or an individual saw in you. What was that like for you? That they decided to invest in you way ahead of time.
It was mind blowing because it was during a time where we didn't have social media, we didn't have smart TVs, so it was go out, create a story, do the interviews, write a story, edit it, and then put it in for the newscast. And back then everybody sat down and watched the 5 o'clock news and the 6 o'clock news and the 11 o'clock news. But it was incredible for me because I was in my hometown and I grew up in the projects of Dayton, Ohio. And once I decided I wanted to be a reporter, I would tell my family and friends, I want to be on TV. And they're like, yeah, you're going to be on TV like some of the rest of us in handcuffs. Like, you can get on TV if you want to. And so it was very motivational and inspirational for me because even before I graduated, I was able to be on TV. So I was going, to school and being on TV at the same time. And that's how I got my nickname Scoop, because my professor said, hey, out of all the seniors, you ended up landing a job in television and you're already on TV. You haven't gotten your degree yet. So for the rest of the semester, we're going to call you Scoop because you scooped everybody on getting a job.
Wow.
And the name just stuck.
Let me go back for a minute. I think people need to understand that you wasn't given a silver spoon. You said something about the people you're around, your peers, our peers. And believe me, I got the same thing. I remember getting ready for the '84 Olympics, and somebody said, "Oh, blah 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 blah." I use that for fuel.
Yeah, exactly.
I knew it, but I didn't have role models. The role model that I had was our African American coach, and he wound up being accused of some things. And where do you turn to? And that's kind of devastating for a young man. Luckily, I didn't grow up in the projects. I grew up in an area called Cromartie Beach in Georgia, on the outskirts of the military base. But you grew up in the projects with limited resources and limited role models. How did you manage to stay afloat, knowing that a lot of times when that happens, we need at least validation from our homeboys,
right,
our friends. But if that's all they was exposed to, is seeing people like us on TV in handcuffs, how did you manage to keep that fuel going?
There was, I learned early on, there was an anchor that was from Dayton, Ohio. His name was Ed Bradley. You remember Ed Bradley?
I remember Ed Bradley.
Ed Bradley.
He was smooth as heck, even when he talks.
Wasn't he?
Smooth.
The dude was so
This
smooth.
is Ed Bradley.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And so I said, well, wait a minute. He's on national news, but he's from my hometown.
Really?
And I used that as a motivation as a journalist, because I thought if he can do it, I can do it.
Right.
And that was my motivation. There was a point in my career where I did want to go national news, but then there was, I'm a more local person.
Right.
But he was an inspiration to me. And then I started meeting other journalists.
Did you ever meet him?
I never got a chance to meet him.
Okay.
I never got a chance to meet him. Eventually, after college, I ended up joining the National Association of Black Journalists. But he ended up passing away. But he was an inspiration along with Carol Simpson, who I know, Gail King, all those longtime journalists who just, became icons in our industry.
Why didn't you want to go national? What's the difference what's the advantages and the disadvantages of, I know it's exposure, but it has to be way more than that. Is it more responsibility? Why did you forego going national versus trying to stay local?
I remember the moment I made the decision. I was working in Greenville, South Carolina, but I was sent down.
You've been all over the world. You say you're in military?
I know, right? I was working in Greenville, South Carolina, and I was sent to Atlanta to cover the Atlanta bombings for our station.
God, yeah.
You remember the Atlanta bombings? Yeah. And, the whole industry had basically converged on Atlanta, and we were lined up just, news station after news station. And I was next to our NBC affiliate, national affiliate, and the reporter next to me, we were doing the very same thing. We were reporting on the Atlanta bombings, right. And I was excited. I was a younger journalist, and he was he had some time on me, and he was upset, and I was like, dude, we're covering the Atlanta bombings. I said, you should be excited. This is a national news story. He was like, I was on my patio barbecuing at home on vacation. He said, but when national news called, you got to go.
Oh, he had an obligation.
Yeah, he had an obligation. And I was like, well, what's it like? He said, well, you live out of a suitcase probably 9 months out of the year. You're a puppet on a string, you got to go wherever the news go. We're all around the country. I was like, ew.
Right.
So I said, I'd rather be local. So that's when I decided not to pursue the national a national job because I wanted to stay local. I wanted to be in a community, effective in a community, impacting a community as a journalist. When you're on a national level, that's hard to do.
What's the disadvantages for staying local? Because you guys do. Let me put it like this: as an athlete, I got an agent. I don't have a union, but I have an agent.
Yeah.
If the company decides, this is key for people to understand. I'm gonna use this as a metaphor. If a company decides they want to let you go, there's not too much you can do.
Right. That's true.
What's the advantages and disadvantages of local for for somebody that's in your field?
Well, the advantage of being local is that you connect to a community. A lot of times, the companies that we work for, they actually do research, with focus groups to see how you're connected to the community, if you're well known, if people don't know who you are, they don't recognize you because you're not engaged, then you're less likely to want to be kept on a job. I have an agent too.
And the only reason why I'm saying is because I've seen a lot of reporters and news staff in Indiana's base here today, a year or two, they're going tomorrow. And I see them, I'm like, what happened? They're not going to tell you what happened. Well, I decided to go. I'm thinking, okay, is there any loyalty in this?
Well, a lot of times you're chasing a job, you're trying to get to a bigger market.
Right.
You're chasing paper, you sign a 2-3 year contract, and then at the end of that contract, you decide, or the company decides to renew, or do you try to get another job somewhere else in a bigger market? I never thought I would end up in Texas. I had no desire to end up in Texas. I never applied for a job in Texas. They came after me. It's a bigger market.
How did that make you feel? Because it was a shock to me when you threw your going away party, because I'm like, okay, why is he leaving? Well, I kind of knew.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like you don't have roots here, that people don't know you here. But it's kind of like, I'm just biased to Indianapolis. You know what I mean? I love Dallas. Dallas is one of my top three, then, my home in Atlanta. But I've always been Indiana driven. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen the good, the bad, the ugly, and I also seen the growth that we have.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And when you got ready to leave, man, it was sad. It was like, I didn't want to tell him, like, what the fuck is he leaving for?
It was opportunity. It was the opportunity to work at a very coveted television station with.
It's a bigger market, too.
Yeah, it's a bigger market. It's a bigger market. In fact, when I got the email, it was during the pandemic when I got the email offer, I thought it was spam.
Okay.
And then finally, when I had conversations with the management, I said, and the management here told them, oh yeah, you could go ahead and talk to him. He's one of our roots here. He's not going to go anywhere, and that's how I felt. And so I just told the management in Dallas, I said, well, I'm not interested, but make me an offer I can't refuse, and I'll consider the offer. And obviously
They made an offer
they
you can't
couldn't
refuse.
refuse. Yeah. A great station, same company, so it was a transfer.
My deeper question is, and this ain't to trying to belittle you in any way whatsoever, I'm trying to articulate this the right way. During the pandemic, we was all dealing with some shit.
Yeah.
There's millions of reporters, and I know you had to ask yourself this question as you were sitting there during the pandemic. Why me?
I did. And I found out that, so I went to Minneapolis to cover George Floyd. And then I went back to cover the murder trial of Derek Chauvin, Officer Derek Chauvin, the man convicted of killing George Floyd. Well, while I was there, the news manager running the station in Minneapolis was actually the general manager of the station in Dallas.
Oh.
And she thought I worked for the Minneapolis station. So I came in there, I was kicking butt. I mean, and
You drew eyes.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And the only reason I was so successful on the ground in Minneapolis was because of my work here. So prior to George Floyd's murder, um, I had emceed a program here with uh, Ben Crump.
Attorney?
Yeah, attorney Ben Crump. And so he and I became friends. And then George Floyd happened. And when I got on the ground in Minneapolis, I was like, I'm here. I don't know nobody. And I look up and there's Ben Crump.
Yeah.
And
What
so,
better person to know?
What better person to know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was a tremendous a tremendous friend and uh, compadre while I was on the ground in Minneapolis. I mean, he helped me tremendously. He gave me access to George Floyd's family because he trusted me. You know, we had that relationship. And then on top of that, after George Floyd, I got sent. I got sent to Kentucky to cover Breonna Taylor. I get to Kentucky, and guess who's there? Ben Crump. So I basically made a name for myself.
For everything.
Yeah, there's a reason for everything. So I get back to Indianapolis, and the manager from Minneapolis gets back to Dallas, and she calls Minneapolis. She says, "Hey, that Jefferson guy that you guys got in Minneapolis, you know, how long has he been there, and where did you find him?" And they're like, "He don't work here. He works in Indianapolis." And that led to them recruiting me to Dallas.
Wow. How long did it take you to make the decision? Because let's get real. Money is one thing, but if the viewers are listening, you said something that was key. You love what you do. You never once said you love the money. How long did it take you to come up with the decision to go, and who did you talk to when you had to make that decision? Because let's get real, your roots is in the Midwest.
Yeah.
You know.
It was a tough decision because you know, here in Indianapolis, like you said, I had made so many roots. My friends have become my family.
Right.
You know, people like you. I mean, pick up the phone and call you 24/7.
And I'll be there.
Yeah. And so it was a really, really tough decision. But it was during the pandemic. And
I think everybody was scared.
everybody was, yeah, it was just like, what is happening to our world? Because we didn't know.
Yeah.
You know, and it wasn't you know, we found out it wasn't the first pandemic ever, but
Right.
it was our first pandemic. So it was a tough decision. I wanted something new. I wanted bigger challenges. It took a while to make a decision. It wasn't an easy decision.
When you get on that flight, reality sets in.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're going to be here a while. When you get there, you're in a bigger market now. When you get there, what's different? What did you have to change to did you have to level up to a different league?
I absolutely did.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And not saying Indianapolis is a small market.
No. But in comparison, yes. But let me. I believe that God puts people in places, you know, and orders our steps. So I get to my new job. I get to City Hall, you know, for the first time ever. I'm trying to meet people, introduce myself to people.
They do a press release for you? Like
Yes.
NFL?
Yes.
Dang.
They did. That felt good too. They did. I'm at City Hall. I'm in the chambers, and I see this woman across City Hall in the chambers, and I look, and I recognize her, and it's Valerie Washington, who served as the director of public safety here in Indianapolis for years.
Wow.
And she's there. and she's the assistant city manager.
Wow.
And I go up to her, and she's talking to somebody, and then she looks at me, and she tells this person, "Hold on a second." She says, "What are you doing here?" And I said, "I'm a reporter here now."
Wow.
And she's like, "I can't believe." She thought I was there covering a story.
Right, right.
And so that next week, Valerie calls every department head in the city and takes me to lunch with them.
Holy
Puts
smokes.
me at the head of the table and tells, I mean, I'm talking about the fire chief, the police chief, the director of the library, all the city heads,
People you need to know.
people I need to know.
Yeah.
She tells them who I am, what type of journalist I am, and she says, we need to take care of him. Give him your cell phone numbers, your office numbers, and your emails, and he'll be calling you for stories.
Damn. That's the keys to the city.
That key, basically, yes.
Yeah.
The only person that wasn't there was the mayor.
He'll be there next. But you did
Well, I
meet
got
him.
the mayor on speed dial now.
Yeah.
So that was God ordering my steps.
Yeah.
So I knew that decision was the right decision.
I think people need to really listen to what you just said. The steps, but more importantly, always, how can I say this word? This makes sense so people can understand what I'm trying to say. Don't always prejudge people. You know what I mean? Take your time out to say hi to somebody, because you never know.
You never know.
You never know who they
never
are.
know. Yeah, exactly.
And I think a lot of people, we live in a world now. It's so funny. I was just telling somebody this. I'm the type of person that I don't mind going up and saying, hey, how you doing today? And watch a person's reaction. And I notice a lot of people, they freak out. Like they're not used to acts of kindness.
Right.
And I tell people, all it takes in the morning is to say hi to somebody, because you never know. That person might say hi to you, and they might be the mayor to the city.
Right. That's true.
The next question is a conversation, and they ask you, what do you do?
Right.
Oh, what, blah, 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 blah. And I think since the pandemic, people have literally shied away from the art of communication. You deal with communication every day. Let's talk about something that's key. What you've covered a lot of stories, but what's been the most impactful story for you that still resonates to this day? It don't have to be one; it could be two or three, and why? And how does that story still impact to what's going on in the world today?
I there's so many, but here's another situation where I know God had his hand in, because we all watched when George Floyd was being killed. We watched it live, right?
Yeah.
So I'm at home here in Indianapolis watching it on Facebook, and I'm like, okay, well, who's recording this? As a journalist, I'm starting to investigate who's recording this, who's showing this, and I'm thinking, is this real?
Yeah.
Is this really happening? And it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And not knowing that it would be the biggest story of the century. So immediately when the video ended, I got on instant messenger, and it had that phone icon on instant manager. I called the young lady who was recording it.
Really?
And we talked. And she was crying because she was scared.
Right.
And I didn't know I was talking to a child, a teenager at the time.
Right.
And so she said that I'm starting to get, people are sending me direct messages. I'm getting hate messages for recording what was happening. I'm scared. What should I do? And we're having this conversation, and again, at this point, I'm not realizing how big this is going to blow up because
Okay.
I did not know the man in the video. I
Right.
didn't know the officer in the video. I had no idea at that time that I would actually be on the ground, where this happened, you know. Um, and so, I'm trying to take care of her as a teenager with out of compassion because I know she's scared, she's crying. So I'm trying to do that and be a journalist at the same time. So I'm having this conflict
Mhm.
of making sure that she's okay. And so I'm like, okay, well, where's your mom? She said, well, I'm at my I'm being taken care of by my aunt. And I said, okay, well, where is she? Well, she's downstairs. And she's worried that she's going to get in trouble for being on the phone with me because she's not allowed to talk to strangers. And I said, okay, well, she's like, well, what should I do with this video? I said, do not,
Yeah.
do not erase the video.
Yeah.
I said, I need you to take this video to your aunt right now.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking, and then she's like, well, I can't, I'm not supposed to be on the phone with you. And so I know we have to hang up, but I know that in my heart of heart as a journalist, when I lose this call,
Yeah.
that's it.
And then she takes the video
Yeah.
down.
She takes a video to her aunt, and then the next day it just blows up. And I'm thinking, wow.
But you know what was even more shocking is people standing around. Now, my brother is a head police officer in Atlanta. I know police officers as well as you do. And I'm thinking to myself, you're there with other law enforcement agencies, officers, brothers at arms. You need to stop that.
Yeah. Yeah.
No one intervened.
No one intervened.
That was sad. I can imagine what that little girl
Yeah.
went through, and just imagine the people, the bystanders that was there.
Yeah.
Not saying that they couldn't have intervened because they probably would have been justifiable shot down there.
Oh
too.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And her 9-year-old cousin who was with her, because they had gone to the store just to get some candy. She was taking her 9-year-old cousin. Again, at the time of that telephone call, I never knew this would come to fruition. Because of my relationship with Ben Crump and my being boots on the ground in the city, I ended up getting an exclusive interview with that 9-year-old while I was covering George Floyd.
Really?
So, again, steps ordered. So that is probably the biggest, one of the biggest stories I've ever covered.
Without giving out the details, you had exclusive behind the scenes. I'm not going to throw anybody up under the bus, but with your investigation, even covering that trial, what did you find that was so, like, you can't believe all this turned out this way? Whether it might have been the officer's personality, his maybe if he had multiple allegations against him, that you look back as a journalist and say, why wasn't this investigated before that happened?
Yeah, I think the biggest shock was for people who thought that what he did to George Floyd was okay. That was the biggest shock.
I can imagine being in the courtroom and just being a fly on the wall, because the ideal is to belittle the victim as much as possible to allow justifiable cause of action. So I can just imagine being in there and hearing them belittle that Mr. Floyd. Well, he might have been a drug user, he might have been under the influence, and you have full access to this. And hearing all that, being a man of color, how did that make you probably feel?
Wow, that was hard. That was hard.
Because he's
And
not here to
that's-
defend himself. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? The dead can't talk.
Exactly. No, none at all. And that's when you have to take off everything and put on that journalist hat
Mhm.
and still be unbiased, down the middle of the road, report the facts and the facts only, and let the viewer decide.
Before we wrap up, you're back in Indianapolis. You've always blessed the city by returning to be not only an advocate for different projects, but a face to show loyalty to this community, to this beautiful city and state of Indiana. You're back here once again to show your face for a beautiful cause. Tell me about that.
Yeah, Meet the Artist 38. This is going to be taking place at Central Library every year. The library is dedicated in basically exalting Black artists in our community. We're talking about new artists. We're talking about authors, painters, performers, musicians, designers, all in one place, Central Library. It's free, a family-free event, 38 years. The curator, Tony Rafford, started this 38 years ago just to give Black artists space.
Right.
To share their culture, their creativity, their professionalism, and it has grown into an incredible event that you have to experience to be there.
I didn't even know that was even here.
Yeah, it's amazing. It is an amazing event. Again, in its 38th year, I probably have served as the master of ceremony for half that time now, and that's why I come back every year, because it's such an amazing event to give artists space and exposure. And it's an event for everybody. We're talking about children who are artists, adults, elderly people who are artists, new artists, and it's amazing. Like you said, it's one of Indy's best kept secrets, and it's people come from all over the Midwest for this event, and again, it's free.
Yeah, it's free. How long is it?
It's doors open at 5:30 at Central Library.
Okay.
The fashion show culminates with a fashion show, an incredible fashion show that you have to be there.
So the fashion show is the designers.
Yes, the fashion, local designers, people like Nikki Blaine.
Really?
It is an amazing event, which and it ends about 10 o'clock. So it's a long event,
And it's free.
and it's free. But you don't realize how long it is, and we've got artists set up on 3 floors. We have authors. You can purchase their books. You can purchase Black art, and this is the gala for the Meet the Artists event that happens every year, and we try to bring in new artists every year. We have one artist who is an author who is actually has uncovered some of the letters from President Abraham Lincoln about how Blacks helped win the war.
He was on the show.
Yes, Tom Bailey. He was on your show.
We have his book over here.
Yes, I recruited him to be one of our artists this year because his book is not only in the library, it's on Amazon.com, and he's going to be there talking about his book. And
the universe is crazy. We just had him on, man.
Awesome. So then you already know.
Yeah, great.
You already know.
And I think so I used to be a teacher, history teacher too, and physical education teacher, and it's funny.
There you go.
It's funny when he came onto the show. I say it amazes me how we don't know that we played a major part in the Civil War. If it wasn't for us, who knows what would have happened?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, who knows what would have happened?
Exactly. And it's letters from the president, so it's like you can't. How you dispute that?
Yeah. How can the viewers? Do you have information on how the viewers can pre-register for this if they missed it this year and be a part of it for next year?
Yeah. All you have to do is go on the website for Central Library from the Indianapolis Marion County Public Library. It's on their website. Uh, we will have snippets all over social media. Follow our YouTube page. There's more information there. And if you've never been, I'm sure there are artists in the city who needs this type of exposure.
Right.
And if you've never been, attend and then decide how you want to participate.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Do your recon first.
Yes.
Yeah. Go visit. Steve, thank you so much for taking time to come back and once again bless your face. More so blessed coming into the studio. This is your first time here.
Yes, a wonderful studio. And man, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm telling you right now, this is the most pop-up person in all of my feeds. You are doing it, man. I am so proud of you, man. You are doing it. You are doing it.
Yeah, thank you so
all
much.
day, every day. I'm looking at, okay, well, what's Andre doing now? Okay, here we go. I got another alert. Here's another alert. I love it, man. You're doing great work. And I appreciate what you do, especially giving people a voice and a platform.
You know, and I tell people that was the reason that I did it, because it was hard being a professional bodybuilder in Indiana. I remember them telling me nobody would ever pay bodybuilding attention. I said, damn, I need to change the narrative for that shit. Like quick.
Yeah.
But you remember as well as I do, it was difficult to get in the newspapers. It was difficult to get into magazines.
Exactly.
And I was like, I don't want that to happen anymore to people. You know, give them a chance to get on TV. We just launched yesterday. You saw the Roku.
Yes,
network.
Roku. You download. You got everybody has a smart TV.
Yeah.
Everybody has a smart TV. They got all you have to do is when you go in your search bar on Roku, just put in Creighton, and you'll see it pop up.
Yeah,
that's all, Creighton. That's all you have to put in.
Well, because I'm trying to take the IMB's network into the future, and I realize that, and I tell people, you got to start thinking mythology, you know, on a method type level. If social media decides to crash today, the things that don't crash is radio and television. They're always going to be around. I think that we have become so magnetically driven to social media that we judge everything by social media. I remember that we had a lady, it was so funny. She wanted to be on the show, and then I reach out to her. She says, "Well, your reach isn't big." I'm saying, "Excuse me." I'm like, "Look, our reach is global."
Right.
You're still thinking how many likes, followers, and shares.
Right.
We're global.
Right. Exactly.
She calls back and goes, "Can I be on it?" No. I said, "No disrespect, but it shows me your level of thought, that you're still thinking here. I'm looking at people that want to go here.
Right.
You know, go on that. What's it called? The USS Andre.
There you go.
Steve, how can the viewers keep in contact with you and follow your career? Because you got a beautiful career. You're still doing things, and I don't see nothing but beautiful things happen to you. How can the viewers reach out to you, sponsor you, and even mentor? Let's get real, because you mentor people.
A lot.
And
yes.
you helped a couple of artists. Let's talk about Damon Coyle, too.
Has he been on your show?
Oh, my God.
Oh, that's great.
Steve, he's blowing up, man.
Okay, right on.
Damon is doing good. He's with Kneecap, and I still remember the story he told me about you, how he downloaded his music into your shit while he's cutting the grass.
Yeah, I'm all over social media at Scoop Jefferson. I'm on LinkedIn, all the social media platforms, YouTube, everything.
You know what, guys? Make sure that you click that button, follow, be a part of the event that's happening here on Valentine's Day. Like Steve said, you might want to do your recon first. Go there. It's free. It's free.
It's free.
And do your research. See if you like it. And if you're an artist, this is an opportunity for you. And let me recap a little bit here. I know he said for Black artists, but I believe any person that's an artist
Absolutely
can come and be a part of this. We need to understand everybody's culture, and what better way to do it than everybody coming together to this event. Is free. If you're an artist, go in there and showcase and see what you got. Opportunities are here, and if you don't take opportunities, you'll never know if you have the capability to evolve. Ladies and gentlemen, with that said, this has been another, and I do mean another, exciting episode of the Andre the Beast Creighton Show.